Alright, and welcome back to another video. We're going to be doing a couple of odd end things today. A little bit of lamp planing, a little bit of desking, a little bit of checking pivots and whatnot. I started working a little bit yesterday. I thought it was going to be boring, but then after I was going after it a little bit, then it started seeming quite eventful. So then I was like, oh, I guess I'll record and make a video of it as long as it's not going to be boring. So first thing I got to do is I got to check up on these pivots. I turned on one chemigator here at this pivot yesterday. We're chemigating dual on there, or it's has another herbicide name, but everyone calls it dual. Some people, the metal is another brand of it, but essentially it's supposed to kill any nutgrass that we have growing on our field, and it's also supposed to act as another residual to keep more weeds from coming up. And the reason why we're chemigating it onto the pivot instead of spraying it on is that way we get a better, more full coverage. If we spray it on, the dual kind of gets just sprayed right on top of the leaves of the peanut plants, so then you don't get any residual where the peanuts are. You just get residual where it's ground to ground contact. So for this, if we're chemigating it on there, the whole ground gets all of the chemical on the ground. It covers everything, because it'll go right past the leaves. It won't stick onto the leaves of the peanuts and cover the ground. Plus, another reason why we're going after it right now is because hoe hands just barely went over this field. We had lots of volunteer pie melons or watermelons, essentially just wild watermelons growing all over the field. So they came over it, cleaned everything off. So now it's nice and clean. And now we're chemigating it on there, so we should not have too many weeds coming up here. So here at the pivot, just gonna make sure that it's still pumping. So basically what I'm going to do now, we have it rigged where we're just taking it straight out of the tote. We're not pumping it into this tank that the chemigator comes with, but we have it teed in right here. That valve is closed going into the tank, but this one's open. So I just close this one, get my watch, my timer out, and then I gotta make sure, the way I calculated it yesterday, it's supposed to do 1.2 ounces a minute. So I basically just gotta calculate it. I just gotta guess I'll just wait till it gets to 11, start a timer, wait till it gets about there-ish, and then hopefully it's a minute. If not, then I'll just adjust it right here to where it will do 1.2 ounces a minute. Yeah, it's close enough. It's as close as what I'm gonna get to it. It's doing a little bit, like a hair bit more than 1.2 ounces a minute, but that is totally fine. I'd rather have a little bit more than not enough. So I'm just open it back up, because or else then, you know, you're not chemigating anything. But then, just like pumping fertilizer onto the field, from the chemigator, just the hose goes straight into the pivot. The pivot will evenly distribute it across the field. So nutgrass that we're trying to kill is this stuff right here. This is a pain to kill, and it always grows no matter what. You cannot get rid of this. I think seeds stay in the ground, and it always comes back year after year. Roundup will kill it, but Roundup will also kill our peanuts. So if we grow cotton, you know, then you just spray Roundup, kills all the nutgrass, and you don't have a problem. But with peanuts, you have quite a bit of a problem with it. But we're setting the pivot around quite fast right now, because since we're doing since we're chemigating, we can't be putting down an inch, or else the chemigator will pump like, I don't know, 0.1 ounces a minute, because that takes very long. It's like over, I think it's 120 to 140 hour rotation. So that's how long it takes to do one full circle. And so like this, we just sent it around doing 48 hours. It can do a 48-hour circle, be around in 2 days. and then we'll have chemigated the entire field. And basically what we're gonna do after that, because we have it all nicely on a trailer, we're just gonna be moving it from field to field. Once this field's done, then you just unhook everything, unhook the wires, unhook the hose, and then move to the next field and then start all over again. So pretty simple, pretty easy setup that we got going on. We have more chemigators and we could set them up at every pivot if we really wanted to, but we were thinking this is easier because then with your truck, you just hook onto a trailer. It's nice and fast anyway. And then you just move it from pivot to pivot to pivot. Pretty easy. That's what we thought anyway, but gonna go check up on a few more fields and then we'll get to leveling out some ditches. Yesterday afternoon, I was already leveling off the edges of our field because they were quite bad. From a lot of the wind that we've had, there's a lot of dust or like piles of dirt everywhere, so our edges of our field were very, very rough. It was bad, so we're essentially just trying to smoothen out our fields because of how bad they are. And then later, hopefully we'll get another rain, and then we'll come out here and we'll plant some winter wheat at the edges of our field. Hopefully keep it from blowing in the future. And since the 2 videos ago, the crop update, our peanuts have been pushing quite along already. We're getting pretty close to lapping. It's not going to take much longer. We are a little bit more behind than we are last year. Last year we were July 12th and we were lapping with our Virginias already. As you can tell, we're getting close. There's about anywhere under 6 inches for sure. There's a few spots where we have a little bit more gap, but right there where it's getting water, it's already, the leaves kind of fan out. When it gets a little hotter, they kind of shrivel up a little bit, but we're getting close to lapping. I hope that starts here soon, because the sooner that they can overlap, the more moisture we can contain in the ground, and then it takes less moisture or less water for the peanuts to keep growing. Because with the heat that we've had this year, water is evaporating quite quickly, and I would hope it would stay in the ground longer. But this pivot's good. It's time to start leveling. I got lots of stuff to level. Got lots of areas where we got nice valleys at the edges of our field, so we got quite a bit to smoothen out everywhere. So I was lamp planing a little bit yesterday, but now I need the disker again, so I'm just gonna unhook it real quick and then go hook on to the disker, which is sitting right over there. This lamp plane is always a bit inconvenient. It always wants to stay hooked in. Oh, can't forget this guy. Just that way I don't have to do it later. Basically, there's a nice valley right here. From all those crazy storms that we had in the beginning of the year, a lot of the dirt from the field kind of blew off and created a big mound right here. And I was already leveling yesterday. I was bringing all this dirt here, trying to, as much as I could from here, bringing it there to where it's more level. And I got far enough to where this was too hard, where I couldn't really get any more dirt. So that's why I'm grabbing the disker now, trying to loosen up that dirt again. That way I'll come back with the lamp plane and I'll be able to scoot a lot more dirt that way. So that's anyways the plan. We'll see how well it'll actually work. But we got a lot of this stuff that we want to do a lot of the edges of our fields are pretty bad. We're wanting to smooth them out like crazy because it's getting a little out of hand with how uneven and rough it is just driving around the field. It's getting bad. That's it. I just needed to do one round to loosen up the dirt. Now to go hook on that lamp plane again. Hooking it back on is always a little bit more difficult. Pitch can never go low enough, and you always have to just kind of park right beside it, put it back on like that, and then you can finally back up and actually somehow unhook it. We tried putting a chain on there with the hook, but the hook just kept breaking off, so it's a little inconvenient because it always wants to go down. It's always very difficult to hook it up, but it still works. So it's essentially just a lot back and forth. I don't know how well you can tell it, but there's quite a bit of a valley here. So I'm just scraping dirt from that little hill, bringing it to the middle, lifting up, and then backing up again. Just doing that all along here. So that's quite a ways. I've already done a little bit here, but the ground is already, I can already tell it's hard underneath where I'm lamp planing, so the discer is definitely gonna have to get back out here and make another pass, loosen up more dirt so I can scrape more dirt that way. So sadly, this is not it. This is not near enough dirt that I need to bring that way to level this all out. This is quite the valley we have here. Yeah, now we're talking. We got the big discer over here. He's leaving it folded up, but we set that discer as deep as it possibly can go, and that discer is way heavier than the little green one that I was using earlier. So now all that weight is just focused on that center little piece. So he's going very deep, and he's loosening all that dirt there. So he's gonna make a couple of passes, then I'll be able to move some dirt. But for now, I'll just work my way this way. Once he's done doing one more round right there, then we're first gonna go eat some lunch and then get back at it after lunch. You cannot find a better tractor to do a task like this that doesn't have IVT. It has to have IVT for something like this. When you're just going back and forth so fast and so frequently, it's just, IVT is the way to go. Like, I can't imagine doing this with a power shift transmission. That would just not work. Because here you just slap it into forward and then slap it in reverse. It's super quick. You cannot get quicker than this. Not to mention the foot pedal. That is also a necessity for something like this. Been after it for quite a while already. Did a couple of more areas around the field. Got it pretty decently level. Love the way it already looks, and this is only the beginning. We have a lot more work to do. There's lots of areas like this here where it's like washed out and everything. So we're definitely gonna be here for a while doing lots of maintenance throughout the rest of the summer. Currently done for the day. And yeah, sometimes you gotta treat yourself after a hard day of work, right? Why not? Now, was it that hard day of work? Physically, not so much, but for my neck from doing this all day, yes. So I'll have one regardless. Not a big deal. Well, on to tomorrow. And the next morning, we just barely turned on one pivot. Pretty easy. We just opened one valve and closed two other ones. And then I got a message saying that another pivot turned off. So we're gonna quickly go check up on that one. And then we're gonna end up hooking up a hooded sprayer. As you remember, we had lots of voluntary cotton in between the rows on this field. I showed it in the crop update video. We had lots of voluntary cotton. We were gonna hire hoe hands, but we decided, well, we're gonna use a hooded sprayer instead. Probably a little bit faster, maybe a little cheaper too. So we're gonna end up hooking up a hooded sprayer, but we're gonna go see what's wrong with another pivot first. idea. I was at the pivot, volts check out fine, fuses check out fine, everything checks out fine at the pivot, but it's still powered off, or it says it's powered off. For some reason it doesn't let me turn it on. So I have a theory. If I come up here, is that off? Oh, it's not. I was hoping that was going to be the issue. I was hoping someone was dumb enough to turn this off, and that's why it didn't work. But I don't know. It's not crooked. There's not an alignment fault or anything. It just said powered off, as if it's not getting electricity. So I do not know what the problem is. And the pivot, if I check inside the panel box, it shows that it has electricity, but I don't know why it's not running. I'm very confused now. And while I was at it here at the end tower, checked the motor checks out fine. Every now and then, if there's an issue, the end tower motor is usually at fault, but in this case it doesn't seem like it. So back to the pivot we go to try to find the actual issue with this pivot. Well, now it's working. I called my uncle and he recommended there's a little switch right back there. I did not know that was a thing, but all I had to do was just flip that back on. Apparently that's also a breaker of sorts for something. Okay, I guess if something goes wrong here, that little breaker is supposed to trip, and it did. I didn't even know that existed. It's on none of our other pivots, it's just on this one. But that's all I had to do was just flip that little switch, and now we're good to go again. Now we're watering. Oh, we're good to go again. It's running. I guess I'll get a text message later if it turns off again. But everything checked out fine, so besides that switch, we're good to go. Currently spraying picks on the cotton, giving the cotton a little plant growth regulator to where they'll make more fruit and not grow as tall. It's a necessity for cotton. So time to hook on to this hooded sprayer. We're done using this disker, so we're gonna unhook it and we're gonna hook on to this guy. It's a lot easier hauling this thing here, because we use this thing at our other farm, which is like a 200 plus miles away, using that equipment hauler back there. It's very easy to transport it back and forth, but I don't know if they brought the controller with and everything. I told them to bring it with. There's wires here, there's a hydraulic hose. I think there's supposed to be a controller here somewhere that I'm supposed to put inside the cab. Guess I'll have to do a little digging. Maybe they put it inside the shop. Not quite sure, but this is what we're going to be using to kill all of our volunteer cotton. So essentially the cotton is just going to come in between here, in between the rows, and then there's nozzles up there, kind of off to the side. That's going to kill them all and get rid of all of our volunteer cotton and weeds if they're there. Well, it looks like we don't have the controller for now. I just have the wire running in here, and I just switched a hose. There's a set on top and a set on bottom. The set on bottom makes it to where it sprays behind the hoods, closer to the row, and then the top ones make it to where it sprays in the hood, just in between the rows, and that's what I want. So all I had to do is just swap one hose down right there. Now we're spraying where I want to. And for now, I'll just back up right here. I do have somewhere to be after lunch, so I'm gonna park this right here for now. There's a hose right there, so we're gonna rinse the tank and everything, make sure it's ready to go, and we're probably gonna end up going Monday. So, but this right here is gonna be it for now. I'll just leave this parked right here, and we'll worry about the rest another day, or well, Monday. Never mind, found it here in the shop. This is all I need. I just need to plug that in from the hooded sprayer, and then this just plugs in to the tractor. And here's my on and off switch. Turns on all 16 rows at a time. And then the rest of this, there's a bunch of boxes here. Apparently, this is what we're all supposed to put on there yet. We don't have to put them on there now to make it work, but we got to put all this on there so that this is going to be our rate controller, where we can do variable rate with the hooded sprayer, and then more parts are also supposed to come in to where we can have also section control on it too, but that's not here yet. But that's what all this was. I thought here I was supposed to put all this on here in order for it to work, but nope. All I need is just this guy right here. Just mount that one bolt. We will be good to go in no time. That looks easy enough. Well, that's gonna be it for me for this video. Until Monday, I guess, when we start hooded spraying. I do believe Monday we are starting with that, and what we're gonna be spraying just some AIM, just that was loud, just to kill off all the volunteer cotton weeds if they're there. But we already sprayed 4 weeds, I believe, on one circle, not on the other one. So we'll just spray AIM on there, get rid of all the volunteer cotton, and that's all we're using it. And then once we're done doing it on 2 fields, then we're shipping it back out to the other farm. So as for now, I do appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.